Are you done? Finished? You finished? Alright? Are most of you are finished? Because if you don't complete this test, you cannot do the next exercise. Then we go for the next one. Okay, I'll give you 1 more minute. Okay, I'm gonna measure 1 minute here. Okay, 1 more minute. All right. I'm going to be asking you, right, volunteer, right, to present your partner. I don't know, do you want to present yourself or your partner? Maybe yourself is better, right? Because you know all the names, right, already. All right. So I want any volunteer who presents some of your family names. Can I have any one of you kind of present some of your family names? What you're going to do is, well, this is me, my name is this, I have a dad, my dad is called this, my mom is called this, I have a sister. I want to hear some names from your family. Can I have a volunteer? Someone, please? If you don't volunteer, I can call you, right? I don't want to do that. So raise your hand and be a volunteer. It's more fun this way, right? Because you're doing because you want to do it. You want to learn, right? All right, go ahead. So stand up and give me few names. You don't have to give me all the names. Just few names. For example, my dad is this person. His name is this.
My dad's name is Li Haoyan. My mother's name is Dong Xiaowei. I have many cousins. Their name is Li Chenyu, Li Chenshu. 崔月莹、刘帅。
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? For example, she talked about her dad and her cousins. Does anyone here have the want to give me the names of your grandparents? Okay.
My father's name is Yiqing. My mother's name is Cui Ling. I have a brother. His name is Tu Shuyu. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Does any one of you here wants to give the names of your grandparents? grandparents. Did you write it down, the grandparents' names? I want to hear someone giving me the names of your grandparents. You know, grandparents. Here, the first line, the grandparents. Okay. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, grandparents.
My grandmother's name is Wang Xiaoying.
Oh, we have four grandparents, right? Right. I wasn't expecting to hear four names, right? Because you have grandparents on the side of your dad and also on the side of your mom. But that's okay, thank you. Does anyone have a niece or nephew? No? No one yet? Okay, alright. So which are the names that are typical in your country? For example, if you ask me this question, I can say João is a very common name in Brazil. We have lots of people with the name of João. So what is a typical name in China? What is a name that's very common? Liu Chang, right? Is there any other typical name? Alright. Next question. Which is the name that are most unusual? I asked you which is the most typical, and now I'm asking you the most unusual, the most rare, almost never heard. This one is more difficult to answer, right? Because you almost never heard it. Can you give me a name that's unusual? You know what unusual means? Almost no one has this name. Can you give me one Chinese name that's very rare? No, almost no one has it. What did you say? What did you say? Okay. Alright. So the last question. Which name do you like best? Which is your favorite name? Maybe one day you're going to have a baby daughter or a baby son, you're going to give him this name. What is your favorite name? Yes. Do you have a favorite name? What? Alright. Anyone else? What is yours? Alright. One more. Alright. Now let me ask you this: how did your parents choose your name? Was it for one of the reasons below, or for a different reason? Here are some reasons for which people choose a name, right? So maybe your parents gave your name because one of those reasons. So go ahead and look all the reasons and see if your parents chose your name because one of those reasons. So the first one, and then you can tell the party, right? So the first one, your parents name you after a relative. For example, my brother, he named his son for the same name of his granddad. So he had a relative with the same name. So he named his son with the same name of his granddad. Or the second reason here, right? Oh, it's out of order, right? Right? Your name is a religious name. So my son Isaac is a name that came from the Bible. So it's a religious name. So I have two boys. One is Bernardo and the other one is Isaac. So Isaac is one of the names that comes from the Old Testament, from the Bible. So it's a religious name. B, they name you after a place. So maybe they name you the same name of a place. I don't know anyone who's being named like this, but maybe it's the reason, right? We're going to talk about someone who did this. Do you know Madonna? Madonna, a pop singer in the United States, very famous. Madonna. She named her daughter after a place in France. So she put the same name, right? Maybe your name has a special meaning. Do you know the meaning of your name? Right? For example, my other son Bernardo, the meaning of her name is very strong. Okay, number C. Yes. They chose an unusual name. Maybe your name is unusual. Not many people have it. Letter D. They named you after a famous person. Maybe they like this guy a lot. They're a fan of this, a pop singer, whatever. They give you the same name.
Yeah.
And the last one is your parents simply like the name. So if you have to choose one, where did your name come from? Is it in this list? All right. So let me ask you individually. So does your name come from this list or is out of this list? Not in this list. My question is, does your name was named after you for one of those reasons or not?
Yeah.
Yes? Which reason?
I choose F.
You can say the letter.
F.
F?
Yes.
So your name has
F.
a special meaning.
Yes.
Alright. Do you know the meaning?
Yes.
What's the meaning?
My name is Hu Shaochuan. That's Shao is means my father want me have a
You can help me. You guys can help
want
me.
me my father want me like
You can explain in Chinese for your questions. You can do it in Chinese. You can do it in Chinese for the classmates. You can speak in Chinese.
my father want me keep health and money
Alright.
and live like a young boy.
Alright. Thank you. Somebody else. Your name. Your name. For one of those reasons? Which letter? Is it on their list?
My parents really like this.
For which letter? On the which letter? G? Your parents seem to like your name, right? You like it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Somebody else? Alright, you?
My parents named me. They couldn't find the meaning of the name. My name means that only my name means that I can learn story and learn anything I need.
Okay, which is the letter? F? Okay, special meaning as well. Okay, the same as him. Alright. So, for example, my family name is Gameiro. Do you know what the meaning of Gameiro? It is a kind of a yellow corn. Yes, if you, for example, go into my blog, I have a blog, you can see a yellow corn in the side. Because I chose as a logo because my name means yellow corn. Right? It's cool, right? So maybe, for example, instead of embroidering a G here, I put a corn here, right? It would be nice.
Yeah.
All right. Now let me give you some notes. For example, we're going to be reading a text. And the text that is in your book is going to talk about, for example, those people here. Let's learn about those people here, okay? I told you about Madonna. I asked you if you know Madonna, right? Madonna is here. Did you ever listen a song from Madonna? She's kind of old now. She's not singing anymore, but she was very popular for more than 50 years. She was very popular. So Madonna was born in 1958. Madonna is one of the most successful recording artists of all time, with such songs as Material Girl and Into the Grove. She's also acted in a number of films, including Desperately Seeking Susan, Evita. Evita was one very famous movie that she did. In 2000, she married the British director of film, Guy Ritchie, and she continues to produce best-selling albums. I think that she's still singing, but she might be retired soon, because she's maybe 58, so maybe 60-something, right? And this is some of their pictures, right? One of their albums, and this is another album. All right. I want to volunteer to read for me. Let's train to see your pronunciation. Can someone read it for me out loud? A volunteer to read. Come on, someone. No, I want to volunteer to read out loud. Can some of you? Can you do it?
Water from
Healing problems. Catholic pilgrims. Yes, wanted to visit Lourdes. Lourdes, the name, just before she died. Yes. So Madonna put the name of her daughter Lourdes. Lourdes is a town, a small town in southwest France, and she did name her daughter after the city, right? And this story is just here, right? Because her mother wants to visit Lourdes, and this city has a special meaning, so she put the name of her daughter Lourdes. All right, and this is some of the pictures of how this city looks like. Okay, the next person is David Beckham. Did you know him?
Yeah.
It's kind of a famous, right? So someone else can read it for me? Okay.
David Beckham played for Manchester United and Real Madrid before Manchester United played for LA Galaxy.
Okay. Galaxy. Thank you. For example, when you're reading, I appreciate you to keep silent. So if you are the one reading, try to speak loud so everyone can hear, right? Because if I speak like this, no one can hear, right? If I speak like that, no one can hear me, right? So, yes. So this is most people know him because he likes to play football, right? Football is kind of I find a lot of students here who likes football a lot. All right. So she's the person who she married, right? She's the Victoria, right? So David Beckham married this girl here, right? So here we talk about she was a Spice Girls, right? So she was one of the member of one of the Spice Girls. So that guy married her. So Victoria Beckham, she was born in 1974. Can I have someone to read it for me? Someone to read it? Someone? Can you do it?
Also known as
Posh Spice.
Beckham was a member of his girls pop group from Seattle to
Okay, 1994 to 2000.
He married David Beckham in
99?
they have 3 sons.
Yes, they had 3 sons. All right, so next one is this one here. Can someone read it for me? Brooklyn is a neighborhood in New York. Some people did born in Brooklyn, right? It's a very famous neighborhood. So can someone read it for me? Someone? Can you read it for me? You? Borrow.
New York City. According to the Vietnam State,
Autobiography.
autobiography, she and her husband mentioned that she was
Pregnant?
with their first child in Brooklyn. So they decided to name him after the grown up.
Yes, thank you. So, for example, let me tell you something. My English is not perfect. I don't know every word in English. So, when I was preparing this class, I am not shy or ashamed to admit I didn't know what this word means, borrow. So, what I did? I look in the dictionary, right? The same as you should be doing when you're reading something that you don't know the meaning. So I look at the dictionary, and borrow means a town or a district which is an administrative unit. This is the meaning of borrow. So don't be ashamed. Just, I don't know the words, right? Just look at the dictionary. As your teacher, I can tell you because I'm doing this all the time. I'm reading, remember, last class I told you, I'm reading every night, 10 minutes before I go to sleep. Now and then I find a word that I don't know. I look in the dictionary, this is how I'm learning. So I keep learning. So don't be shy or afraid to say, well, I don't know this word. Just go and look in the dictionary. I do this all the time. No problem, okay? Okay, Brooklyn is a New York City most popular borough. Alright, next one. Do you know this guy here?
Yes.
Many people know, right? What?
Jack.
Oh, yeah. Alright, okay, I want to volunteer to read it. This one for me. Volunteer to read it. No one? Volunteer to read it? Do you want to read it? Alright.
First one.
Leonardo DiCaprio. This is his name. Okay? This is his name. Leonardo DiCaprio.
What's name are
Yes, he was named after somebody else, and this was Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes.
He started excellent work for me. Appearing in TV
Commercials.
commercials and educational films. His started in a number of successful films such as
Romeo
and Juliet,
Titanic. Yes, Titanic.
John of York, and the
Aviator. Aviator.
has also greatly involved in
Environmental.
environmental work in the US.
Okay, thank you very much. So there's a lot of words here. I don't know, for example, maybe you find it hard to pronounce, right? For example, I noticed. Can you pronounce aviator? Aviator. Can you pronounce, for example, Da Vinci? This is his name. So Leonardo DiCaprio has this very similar name, right? Leonardo. One's DiCaprio, the other one's Da Vinci, right? So Titanic was one of the most famous movies that he did it. So now let's talk about Leonardo da Vinci. Do you know this guy? Leonardo da Vinci, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio was born in 1974. He's about my age. He's 4 years younger than me. But Leonardo da Vinci was born in 1452, 100 years ago, maybe 600 years ago. But he was very famous. He was one of the guys that painted this very famous painting here. Do you know this painting? The name of this painting? Yes, this is the famous Mona Lisa, right? Yes, Mona Lisa. Alright, can someone read this one for me? Can someone read it? This one for me? Come on, volunteer. Someone can read it? Come on, someone. Can I choose one or maybe you? Okay, Leonardo da Vinci.
One word. First word.
Leonardo da Vinci was an Italian Renaissance artist.
This name
Famous
was
for painting. For paintings such as Mona Lisa.
such as the Mona Lisa and the Last
Supper.
He also made
Designs.
some hundreds of years ahead of his time and contributed greatly to the study of
Anatomy,
anatomy,
astronomy,
astronomy,
and civil engineering.
and civil engineering.
All right. This guy was very famous because he did a lot of a contribution to society. He has a lot of projects in engineering, right, and astronomy. And he's kind of also a very famous artist. So he was maybe one of the very famous paintings, Mona Lisa. We still have this in museum. I think it's in London, I don't know. Right? So, for example, another painting that was very famous was called Last Supper. Last Supper is when Jesus Christ was kind of partaking the bread with his apostles. So he did a painting on this situation as well. And these are the most famous works of him in the artist, right? In the artist field. Why we're reading all this? Because we're going to read a text in the book, and they're going to be talking about all those names here, right? We're going to be talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonardo da Vinci, Madonna, David Beckham. So this is why we're talking about those people, right? Yeah. So let's talk about this one. Do you guys know this one here?
Yeah.
Beyonce, right? So can I have someone to read it for me? Someone to read it? Maybe you. Can you read it?
R&B singer. She was originally in the girl band Disney Child and is now a solo artist, actor and fashion designer. Her first solo album, Dangerously in Love, became one of the biggest commercial successes of that year. She received 5
Grammy Awards
in 2004 and had a worldwide #1 hit with
Irreplaceable
in 2006.
All right, thank you very much. I noticed she's had a good voice, very loud. I like the way you read it. Very nice, thank you. All right. All right, this one here. Do you guys know her? All right, someone, a volunteer to read it, this one. Maybe you, the last one. Can you do it?
Britney Spears, an American pop singer. In late 1990s, she had hit with "Baby One More Time" and "Off." Again in 2004, she married dancer Kevin Federline. They had 2 children, but divorced in 2006.
Alright. This is the music that made her very famous, very popular. Baby One More Time and Oops, I Did It Again. Maybe this is the last one. Somebody else to read it for me. Keanu Reeves. He's an actor. Someone to read it? Maybe you? Can you read it? Can you read it? Canadian actor. That is himself and Andrew. name in the Hollywood. Yes. So he was becoming very famous. This is one of the most famous movie from him. Did you guys watch this one? Matrix. All right. He was a very famous actor movie. Okay, this one here. Bruce Willis. He marries this girl here, is a Demi Moore, and they had a daughter, right? So let me read this one first. He was an American actor, found fame in the TV series Moonlighting, but he's best known as his role in the Die Hard films. So they made 6 movies in the Die Hard. Did you ever watch one of those? Very famous. And his other films include Pulp Fiction, The Jackal, The Sixth Sense. He was married to Demi Moore. So I was in the United States when the first movie Die Hard came. It was very new, the first movie. And I liked the movie, and I was learning English, right? So I was watching this movie with subtitles, reading and listening at the same time. And I wanted to learn words. So what did I do? I watched this Die Hard 1 more than 100 times. I learned every word from this movie. So this is also a nice way if you wanted to practice, right? So you will learn from listening, you put subtitles, you can read, and then you can pronounce it together. The movie says, and then you says after, because you wanted to improve your pronunciation, right? This is a one way. So it's 9 o'clock. Should have a break now? Break? Okay, let's have a break. 10 minutes.
下次大部分马上